Welcome back, guys. This is Jason, KM4ACK. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the Pat menu system that I've written. Stick around and we'll get right to it. So the catalog script that you guys watched a couple of videos ago is part of a larger script that I have been working on. So I've got a link to it right here on my desktop. I'm just going to double click and say execute in terminal, and then we'll go ahead and just blow that up full screen so we can get a better look at it. The whole purpose of this script is to make working with Pat a bit easier. So we can do things like add aliases to our list inside of the Pat GUI. We can start different modems. So option 2 there is to start everything we need for an HF connection. Option 3 is to start what we need for a packet connection. You guys probably remember the find ARDOP script if you've been following the channel for a while. So that is part of it right here. Something brand new is what's called Pat Auto Connect. And we'll go back and go through each of these in just a second. Then here is the catalog script that you guys saw just a week or so back. And then we've got stop modems, a way to update the Pat menu system, and then the exit button. Guys, keep in mind this is beta. I've had several people testing this. I think we've got most everything worked out. But if you do experience an issue running this, please leave it in the comments below instead of emailing me. That way we can kind of learn as a group together. And more information is available for others who may run into a very similar issue. All right, so let's take a look first off at number 1. And I'll go ahead and hit the return key. So this gives us several different options here. We can change the login for Pat. So maybe you're working on an assignment, maybe it's fill day, I don't know what the case may be, but you're going to leave the station and let another operator take over, and they may want to use Pat for a Winlink connection. You can actually use option number 1 to log someone else into the system, instead of having to use the Pat configure to go through and redo things. This is just a bit quicker and easier. The next one is add an alias to the ARDOP. And let's just take a look at that real quick. I'm going to open up my Pat menu, and right here is your aliases. And these are just shortcuts that we can use when we're ready to make a connection to a particular station. So if I wanted to connect to K0SI on 40 meters, I can just click that, and you notice it fills in the transport mode, the target call sign, and because I'm using rig control, it goes ahead and fills out the frequency as well. And then we could go ahead and just start that connection. Now, let's get back to the menu here. If we wanted to add an alias to that list, we could use option 2 right here. Now, if you wanted to add an alias for a packet connection instead, we could use option 3. So let's just take a look at option 3. And it's going to ask you what's the max distance you wish to look. Typically, this is going to be 2 meter or 440, so you probably don't want anything beyond a 75-mile range. So I'm just going to enter 50 here, and it takes just a couple of seconds to search through the list. It is a lengthy list because it includes every packet station across the United States. So it does take just a second, but once it comes up, it just asks you which call would you like to add to your alias list. Now, I believe the only one I've got is WC4EOC. Let's take a quick peek at that. And yeah, this is the only one I've currently got. So what we'll do is we'll jump back to the menu system, and it says, what call would you like to add? I'm going to choose K6QS and hit return, and it's done. It's added. So if we go back to our list, I'll need to refresh this web page to make sure that everything updates. We'll go back to Action and Connect, and in the drop down you now see K6QS is in our list. So if we click on that, it will go ahead and populate all of the necessary information for that connection. So let's go back to the Pat menu system. And let's assume that we want to delete one of them. We just press 4 for the delete option, and then it asks us which call sign would you like to remove. So I'll press K6QS here, and it says, are you certain you want to remove it? Yes, I am. And it tells me the list has been updated. One more time, we'll jump back over here. Oh, I forgot, you do have to refresh this web page each time to get the updated information. We'll take a look at Connect again, and you'll notice that that has disappeared out of our list. So it's just a little bit easier than going in and changing the configure file each time you need to. There's also, as you're adding and deleting aliases, it does create backup files for you. So if you ever need to restore one of your Pat configure files, there is that option right here. Now I'm going to go ahead and exit out of this section. And for now, I'm going to skip over the Start ARDOP and Start Packet. I want to take a look at Find ARDOP because this is one other way we can add things to our alias. So let's press number 4 to go into the Find ARDOP section. We do need to set the grid that we want to search first. So I'm going to press 1. And I'm going to say FM. Now, if you needed to, if you're not certain about which grid you want to look at, you could always have chosen option 2 here, and it'll bring up a map and show you the grids. But let's go ahead and choose FM for our grid, and let's choose, let's do 30 meters this time. So there's the 3 stations that are on 30 meters inside of the grid we specified. Now we can, we've got a few options down here. We can change bands or grid, we can add a call to the alias, or we can quit. So you could go through and do the add alias, very similar to what we just did before. Or if you needed to research for something else, you could do that as well. Okay, so let's exit out of that. Now what I want to do is I want to take a look at Pat Auto Connect. So we're going to press number 5 for the Auto Connect. And it's going to ask us, which band would you like to use? So I'm going to choose 40 meters for this one. It says, what's the max distance you wish to try? In this case, I'm going to choose 650. Now this is kilometers and not miles. So keep that in mind. And then it's going to ask me for the minimum distance that I want to try. Now you can leave this blank and it'll be set at 0, or you could say you wanted to try everything. Well, I tell you what, let's do everything from 625 kilometers to 650. We go ahead and press return, and it says please stand by. It's going to open the ARDOP modem up here, and it's going to open the ARDOP GUI here. And then in just a second, you'll see that it'll go ahead and try to initiate a connection to the first station. And while it does that, you can watch the ARDOP GUI and see if it's able to make a connection. Now, if it makes a connection to the first station, it will just quit and write that information to a log file. If it's unable to connect to that first one, it will go right down the list of all of the others that meet the criteria that you inputted. Once it makes a connection, it writes that information to a log file so you know what it connected to. Or if it exhausts the list, then it'll write that out to the log file as well, telling you that a connection could not be made. All right, and it made a connection, and once it finishes up, it just goes ahead and brings you right back into the Pat menu. So let's go take a look at my log file. Let me minimize both of those windows, and I'm going to run my log here. And you can see success with AutoPat, and it gives me the station that it was able to connect to. So that's handy having that information in a log file, because now I may want to add that particular station to my alias list so I don't have to run AutoPat each time. AutoPat's a really great search tool basically, but you don't want to run it every single time and have it trying to connect to a bunch of stations that you're not going to have success with. But hopefully this helps out, especially the guys just getting into WinLink. Helps them find stations that they can reliably connect to, because it can be super frustrating to just try to go down through the list one by one until you find a station that works. Okay, and then really the last thing I want to cover today is the update. So as I make changes to this script, you'll simply be able to run number 8, and it will go out and check and see if there's any updates available. You saw in that one that we are running the most current version, but if there's a update available, it will tell you about that, and it will tell you what's changed in the more recent versions. So just a quick and easy way to update this script. Well, there's a brief introduction to the Pat menu script that I've written. This video's kind of gone long enough, so I tell you what, we're going to wait until the next video comes out, and we'll go through how to get this downloaded, installed, and configured for your particular setup. That does take a little bit of time to work through all of that, and I don't want to rush through it. So we'll save that until the next video, and we will see you guys then. Until then, 7-3.